Sasquatch, Ghost, Dogman, aliens, demons, shadow people, skinwalkers, even the Fae. Our universe is vast, dark, and wrought with infinite unexplained phenomena. We have tasked ourselves with assisting humanity in finding the keys to unlock the mysteries that abound in and around our world. What we intend to reveal behind the curtain of darkness may very well invoke those fears long tucked away in our memories. We will meet that fear head on as we strive to shine the light of understanding on these phenomena. The goal is to arm you with the power of knowledge to confront and even combat these entities. We welcome you to join us on our quest. We are Midwest Night Watchers.
Hi, everybody. Good evening.
Welcome, everyone.
Thanks for joining us on Piercing the Veil. Tonight we have Long Island Bigfoot, Mike, very special guest, good friend of ours. And, obviously, if you've all watched Long Island Bigfoot, he goes out live and goes on hiking trips and he shows a lot of premiere videos, and he has a chat night with you guys all on Friday nights. And his guest, usually his host, is Elena. Got anything you want to say, Jane, before we get going?
I'm being attacked by a cat. Yeah, I am looking forward to this show. I love Mike's shows and all of his adventures and hiking, and takes us all out there hiking with him. So this is going to be really good. He's experienced so much.
So please like and share this out, and go to Long Island Bigfoot and like his YouTube channel and give him a little boost. I mean, everybody needs some love and some sharing. So we try to do that with everybody. And if you have questions during the show, please put them in caps, all caps, and we'll try to get to them as best we can through the show, and see if Mike can have any insight on what you're asking, or maybe even us. Who knows? So we'll go ahead and bring Mike up. I think he's ready to go.
Yep.
And we'll start this off. Hi,
Hey,
Mike.
What's up, guys?
Glad to have you tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me. I feel like we made this date like a year ago.
Yeah, we've been like 2 months out on getting people on.
Yeah. Kind of a big deal
till the end of the year.
Yeah,
Then
you guys are a big deal.
Then when we get closer and I start reminding people, they go, "What? We have a show?" It's like, when is it? What time is it?
Yeah. Well, luckily I have no life, so I'm good.
Aw.
I'm just kidding.
Well, look at Susie. Susie's on top of it already.
Yep. Thank you, Susie.
No, don't do it. Subscribe here instead.
No, subscribe to both channels. So are the trees starting to turn really pretty for fall hikes?
When I was upstate, it was like really cool. It's a little different up there because you get these long roads or like these big distant views. So unless I'm out like in a place where like I'm on a lake or on a river or something, I don't really get that the only like long strips we have like where you go into like woods for a lot of long period of time is like the pine barrens, and they always look the same. So but yeah, they're starting to turn, but I really was enjoying it when I was up in the mountains. It was just a whole different story. It looks so nice.
We like watching your videos when you go out hiking and everything, and all the different spots you show us. We bought a camera to do that too. We bought an Insta360. So
that's cool.
If you're going down the trail, you got the front 150 or 180 view, and then
that's gonna bring you
on it. and edit it, then you can get the whole 360 view
Yeah.
if you want.
Well, let me tell you, that's going to bring you a lot of people if you do a hike with that camera and then like something like that, or because you could, when you're watching it, you take your phone and like go like this with it, and now it turns and shows you. So if you take your phone and go like this, now you see to the left of the person, or you go like that, and it's crazy cool.
Cool.
I don't know why anybody hasn't really monopolized on this idea. Me personally, I suck with tech, like, so I just keep it simple, stupid. But like, yeah, you should definitely do it. It's gonna be awesome. Well, you did do it, but it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, we just
Yeah, we
haven't
just
gone
haven't
out
got
and
out
used
there
it.
yet.
Yeah, we'll get out there.
We got a
You
couple
guys-
state
because-
parks that are real close to us. Starved Rock, that has a real big, long history and a lot of canyons and waterfalls. And we got Matheson State Park, which is right next door to Starved Rock. So we're going to hit those and show
Right.
those first. Then we're going to start hitting the nature trails and go out in the woods, kind of like what you do.
Yeah, I mean, waterfalls are like my favorite thing to do. Like they're I mean, I guess I've evolved, right? Like I kind of like challenge myself and do new things and like new targets, and like my most recent thing, at least for the summer, was waterfalls, because right, like it's hot, like you don't really want to do so I was like, how can I kind of get around this? So I was hiking the waterfalls and then like taking hours to myself at them and swimming, like swimming at the base of the falls, and like,
Wow.
yeah, like just I can't even tell you the experiences I was having. Like it's just unreal, because like there's so much I take everyone along for with the camera, but like there's a lot of times where like I'm doing stuff where I cannot have it in my hand, because I'm like rock climbing in essence. Like, well, it's considered rock crawling, not rock climbing, but like you have to put you if you don't have 3 points of contact when you're moving one of your fourth, you're done. It's a mistake waiting to happen.
Right.
So, I I did a little section in one of my videos, and I was just like, I hope you guys appreciate this, because it's sketchy. But again, I guess this is where people use like GoPros and like stuff like that, where I'm just like, I'm so basic. Like I just carry a cell phone in my hand.
And it works. I mean,
Yeah.
you zoom in quite well. I mean, when you zoom in, you got a really clear picture with your phone.
Yeah, well, I got the Ultra. Gunner, he does this every time. I got the Samsung Ultra 23 Ultra or whatever, and it's when I went in, I was like, I just wanted the best camera, There was a Walmart like a half a mile away, and I took it, and I could see that I knew where it was, so I started zooming in towards it, and it got right up on one of the letters, and I was just like, okay, I'll take this. This
Yeah.
is good.
So what's your next trip going to be? Out somewhere? I mean, you went to that last place you just premiered. So what you got coming up? Anything?
Yeah, maybe. I probably it's all circumstantial, I guess. Like right now, I could barely get up the block, because of the trips I've done this month already. So, I'm done for this month. But possibly early next month, I'll do like an overnight. It's an abandoned. It might be an overnight. It might be 2 nights, depending, obviously, on what I could afford or what I could do. But it's in the Catskills, and it's an abandoned game farm, and they have tenter sites there, and which is like basically it's like a tent already there, but like a bed in it, and like a little heater or a little fan, and like a little whatever. It's in between glamping and camping, I guess. And you just have your own site already set up, so you just pull in and it's there. You don't have to do anything. I'm pretty sure they even provide like the firewood and crap like that. But it's like $200 a night to go camping. So it's
Right.
but this is the only way, unless you do it that site, or you do the Airbnb, which is like the I think they rent out the old. There's a couple of Airbnbs that they rent out, like the old a gift shop, I think is one, and like whatever. There's a couple of spots where they rent it out, and um, you can stay there. But unless you're staying on premises, you don't have access to the to the grounds, which is it's an old zoo basically. But
Hmm.
it was called a game farm, but it was like we have a game farm on Long Island. But it's like I don't know. It's almost a zoo, but it's not.
So is
Like
it
they got.
known for activity for Sasquatch?
I don't know if it's now that there's a lot of trails around it and it looks like prime territory. I mean, they pretty much will go wherever I go, like at least
Hmm.
Bubba will. So I'm not really concerned about that. I just think it would be an interesting spot because it's said to have a lot of like weird paranormal activity. I doubt what people are talking about is Sasquatch, but
Hmm.
it would. I think it would be fun. And I had put it off a couple of times because I was trying to get people, a couple of people like, oh, yeah, people like, oh, I'll do that, I'll do that, I'll do that. But it's the I'll do that has to have like timelines that match up, right? And like people have lives and things that go on, and even something as simple as like a 2-day thing just is hard to plan sometimes. So
Right.
a lot of times I just end up going when I can go, you know, just flying by the seat of my pants. it's it's sketchy
Well,
sometimes.
sometimes that's the best. I mean, you
It's
never know what's
sketchy.
going to pop up no matter where you go.
I get lucky that there's I should let me knock on wood, right? I get lucky that the variables don't happen where, you know, like I break down or whatever, a lot of things could happen.
So how many years have you had your relationship with Bubba?
That's a good question. I should know the answer to this by now.
Or how did you first meet him? Just
it was probably around I want to say it was 2018 or 2019. I can't even remember at this point. But so I was in the army. Like a lot of people know that, right? And I got gonna go lay down, please. And I got really messed up by that, and I got PTSD and like traumatic brain injury from the explosions and all that. And when I came back, I dove back into addiction, and I had to get like help, some help with both, like serious help. So it was really in depth, and I was working on myself like hard and really focused. But it was taking me a long time, like to work through everything. It was a lot more to undo. It things happen like that, and we're done. But the undoing took a lot, and so for those like 5 years, I was walking. Like I wasn't comfortable in society or around people or anything. Like so I was just walking these trails, like in essence, once or twice a day at least. Usually, yeah, at some point during the day, whether it be the morning or like whatever, in between appointments or whatever I was doing, and or in the evening, whatever. But I was definitely walking it at least once a day for 5 years, literally. No, not one break. Not for weather, not for nothing. I would go in there, and that was like my escape. And I know this might sound weird, but I was like, I didn't think I was ever gonna see a Sasquatch here. Like that's not something I could wrap my head around. But I had no idea how it worked. I didn't know. I just thought you had to go like way over on the Pac West. You know what I mean? Like that's just what I thought you had to do. And
right.
so it's funny because I was actually planning a trip to go over there at that time. I wasn't really sure how I was going to do it yet, but I had dialed in on a couple of different things that I wanted to do, and I was going to just do it. And
Susie wants to know if Bubba's the same Bubba the children created in Montauk.
Hmm.
oh, I have no idea. Oh, okay. So I think I know. I think I know what you're talking about. I don't know about the children created a Bubba. I have no idea. If you mean, so the Preston Nichols, I believe, is the one who created Junior. Now, the verbiage used is he created it, but I don't think he created it. It's kind of like how Bubba will kind of swoop in for me. Like, I think Junior swooped in for Preston, and he kind of called on him, and he came.
So it's like a manifestation then?
Something to that effect, yeah. So he's the so-called monster that destroyed the Montauk Project. I mean, ruined it, right? And literally right around the time this stuff was going on is the time I was born, which I kind of just learned, which is kind of weird. But anyway, yeah. So when we were out there one time, I got this telepathic mind speak, whatever you want to call it. But it was like, I call it a drive-by, because it was like, it wasn't like he was coming to stay. It wasn't like I was tuned in, or he was tapping in. Like, he just came by to tell me something, kind of like quick, like, and it was like a lot. I was just hearing some of my friends talking about the incident, and he was just like, he just like came by and course corrected it, like, I'm not no monster. Like, he wasn't like, he was just like, I'm not the monster. Like, the humans were monsters, and I put an end to that, and I was like, it kind of like made me wake up. I was like, well, damn, that's true. Like, look at the stuff they were doing out there. Like, how could you say like that was a terrible thing that he did because he tore that place apart? Like, it should have been torn apart. It's not like he tore apart like a schoolhouse, you know what I mean, or like a church or something. Like, it was like a horrible, horrible thing. So.
Now, is he still around the Montauk area, the forest up there?
He's been seen more than by me.
Okay.
So is he still there? Are they really anywhere? Are they always there? Or is it just something that they're involved in? I don't know. I don't know. I would say he is there, because that's, people just randomly see him. I mean, there was a photo taken of him on the bunkers. From this is when I usually source Brian from Montauk is Strange, because he's good with the remembering part of things and like the details and history. But I believe it was taken from a small plane or a helicopter that was like privately chartered around that area.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
So you popped in on us on Mr. B's Truth Seekers chat, and
yeah,
you and Robert Bowen got in a pretty good conversation about your sighting and vibrations and frequencies. Let's touch on that a little bit, if you want to tell that how that happened.
Was that the professor?
Yes, yeah. Professor.
Okay, yeah. One sec, guys. Sorry. Okay, I had to blow my nose. Don't nobody want to hear or see that. So, yeah. So, I find it amazing that like your sticker says like raise your vibration on Chiro Sounds, because like I'm not so good at putting it into words, right? But I could tell you how I do it, and that's exactly how I explain it. It's like you have to tune into them with your vibration and your frequency, just like a walkie-talkie. Like, it's the best way I can explain it. We can be 10 feet from each other or a mile from each other. It doesn't matter. If we're not on the same one, if we're not dialed in the same way, we're never gonna hear or connect. It doesn't matter how close you are or what, whatever. You got to get on that wavelength and or frequency or whatever, right? So what I do is I go out there and I just go at this. I try to stay at the same, like I try to stay at the same wavelength, if you will, and do the same thing every time, so that if they're there, like they know what I'm dialed into. and they can come reach me if they, if they so choose. And that's
Mhm.
kind of what I put out there. I just say, hey, I'm here, and and so if I'm having a bad day, or like I'm in a funky mood, or I'm pissed off, or I'm feeling weak, or like whatever, I won't even go out there because I don't want to become a target. I don't want to attract the wrong stuff. I know I'm just wasting my time. At the very worst, I'm wasting my time because I'm just not going to be able to connect with anything. So, um, at least I might just go out because all right, yeah, I had a funky mood and I want to get in nature today, right? So like that's a different story. But I already know that, like, okay, like my chances of reaching a Sasquatch today are 0.
Mhm.
Um, you'll hear sightings always by water, like, oh, there's something to it, right? They're by water and this and that, or power lines or train tracks, right? Then there's all different things involved in that, and it's energy. Whether it's the train tracks or the power lines, there's like an energy frequency there that's different than everywhere
Mhm.
else. If you're by the water, people are relaxed there. So like whether you know it or not, you're calming yourself down by being in there, and you're
Right.
putting yourself in that frequency zone to receive things. You know what I mean? You're letting go of everything. Water will, like a flowing river, crashing waves, whatever, that kind of stuff will snap you out of the brainwashing cycle of regular society and stuff. And I think that's at least my opinion why a lot of people see them near water is because they're getting themselves to a point where they're able to notice, you know what I mean? Because they're actually like, whether it is raising, lowering, I don't know. Like I don't have terminology for it. I could just tell you what I do. And I
I
use like
personally, I personally think that if Bigfoot or whatever is dimensional, then they're in a different plane than us, which would be a higher consciousness or a higher frequency than us. So they have to lower themselves to come in to our plane or dimension. But
yeah.
we have to, like you're saying, if we're in a bad mood, I mean, who wants to come in and reach out to something that's giving off these negative, these bad vibes or these frequencies out that are negative and could
Yeah.
be hurtful, depending on how you look at it. But if you're out there in nature, like you said, and eventually you just start becoming peaceful and starting to calm down and getting into nature and getting grounded, then okay, then they can start to come in towards you and match your frequency, like you said. It's just like on a radio dial.
Yeah.
Say
Yeah.
I'm tuning in my AM at 97.00. This day I'm in a bad mood. I
Mhm.
might be 96.8, 0.5. I'm way down from where I normally are.
Mhm.
So I might have to raise my vibration to get back to that 97 on that fine tune on that dial, just like being out. I mean, it's just like frequencies on a radio, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so very similar. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. I have it a lot of times when they stay in that next dimension, like, and I can hear them. You know what I mean? It's almost like it's like a double-sided mirror made of cellophane. Like I
Mhm.
know they can see me and hear me and what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like once in a while they like press the speaker and talk to me or something. Like I can hear them run by. I just call them phantom footsteps because I don't always like to get into the details of it every single moment. But for those who know, they know. Like I can hear them like walking with me or running with me or like doing stuff, and I'm like, some people will say they're invisible. I'm not saying that sometimes they're not, like they're not doing something different, but there are times when I think they're just walking a parallel, like that next dimension
Mhm.
over, and we're just kind of, rolling with each other. And
Well, the spirit realm, is here. There's spirits walking around, or a guardian angel, or your past loved ones. They are here. We just can't see them.
mhm,
So what's to say that if they're in the fourth dimension, Sasquatch is fifth? Yeah, they're amongst us. They're not far away. These dimensions are just that we can't see them. It's just like you said, a different vibration. But
mhm,
you, in your mind, you're in a high vibration. Can't quite see them, but you're hearing them
yeah,
around you. So that does make sense.
yeah, and I've only had good experiences with them too. Like, and I think sometimes people have bad experiences because they do, like we were just talking about with that bad negative energy. I think people go out
Mhm.
like if you were finally in tune to how somebody was or could read their mind or whatever, and somebody walked in with a a cannon, a rifle, and like started kicking through your shit, and like just say they just walked up in your house with this negative energy and a horrible attitude, and that I'd probably do at the least scream at somebody too, right? So like
Mhm.
and then the trickle effect happens, right? Sorry, rolls downhill, but like it becomes this like bigger than it was thing, right? Like I
Right.
was attacked and blah blah blah. I'm very careful to use these, how I use, what words because it's easy for a lot of people to talk about these things like instill this fear and like make this horrible like monster stories, right? It's so easy for them because they're just doing it sitting behind a computer desk. But for people like myself who are out there every day, like we don't want to hear that shit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like we don't want our heads filled with that nastiness, like these just clicks and views type stuff.
Right.
Um, I I've had to talk so many people off the ledge, like because like they're like, oh, like da 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 da. I heard this, and I'm like, do you see me worried about it? You know what I mean? Like, do I look worried about it? Like, it's
Well,
I,
that's the thing, though. I mean, even like somebody's empath or they're something like that, and they get all this stuff bombarding them. Once they get that, I mean, it's hard to sort that out. I mean, you just have all this stuff coming right at you all at once, and it's up to you to try to
mm,
navigate and to learn how to use that information and keep it separate so you don't drive yourself crazy. And that was a lot of things when back in the day in the early 1900s or even before that, they'd put you away in a mental institution when you start talking about this stuff like hearing voices or seeing paranormal stuff or whatever.
Mhm.
that's what I
You're
was saying. Yeah,
spiritual, you're spiritually gifted, and you have all this bombardment going on to you and you can't handle it. You try to reach out to somebody and tell them and they think you're crazy and they put you away, or you can't handle it, so you literally do drive yourself crazy because you don't know how to get rid of the voices that are coming into you, so then you have to go into a mental institution.
yeah. I've done therapy for I don't know, probably. I mean, actually, therapy for myself, where like I put myself there. You know what I mean? Like, and wanted to hear what was going on. Probably for like 10 years now, and I've watched the evolution. And even 10 years ago, it was way different than it is now. And like, you can openly talk about these types of things, like spiritual things, and like, things are being like even especially at the VA hospital, like something has to be fact based to it has to be science fact based to science based
Right.
and proven to be effective in order to become part of a program. And they now have like meditation, they have Reiki, right? So like
Mhm.
we could snarl at these things, but they're so for those who like want to hear about their science, right? Like it has to be science, it has to have evidence. Like meditation is, you know what I mean? And it, how is meditation okay, but like telepathy and mind speak is so far fetched, right? And
Right.
these are some of the same people who will pray to God. And I mean, I grew up Catholic, and when we came back to the pew, we didn't talk out loud. Like we didn't say it out loud. Everybody sat there and said everything and telepathically spoke, right? Or you believe that something was, someone was receiving that, or so, So how is this any different? Is something that I look at. Um,
Right.
and I wouldn't sit here and waste all my time and energy and funding if it wasn't, you know, like I could be doing anything with my time, right? Like I mean, but it's nice to be like, once I got out of the army, I felt like that was one of the only times like when you're overseas, people look at you like you're doing something special, right? When you get back, it's like one day a year. People are like, "Oh, cool, thanks," But like, fine, we get it. We signed the line. We know it's a thankless job. Nobody does it for that reason, but maybe they do. I didn't, though. But it was like I had purpose again. You know what I mean? Like I was able to like do something for somebody else, which I like to do, but I also don't like to be jerked around and like, you know what I mean, and be taken advantage of. So like this is something where like what I'm doing is helping other people too. So like I really enjoy it. So
I think it
it's
is. I think it's a good service you're doing. I mean, it's
Mhm.
therapy for you, and it's also therapy for other people.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. And you know, I get it. Like I'm on a disability track too, so I'm like very limited. You know, there's a lot of days and a lot of times where I'm like down and out, but like when somebody says like, "Oh, I can't get out right now," or "I can't get out anymore," or like, you know, "Thank you for going out because like I enjoy going out through you," and like stuff like that. It's like that's
Yeah.
my motivation on the next one. You know what I mean? Like it just keeps me going.
Well, when you were mentioning train tracks, that was interesting to me because, of course, this field that's connected to our backyard, there's a train track running all the way through town along all these trees, and that's where I see all kind of crazy activity. So I've always kind of wondered if that train track was drawing some of this.
Does it have a third rail?
I'm not sure.
No, no, it's just a
Doesn't?
regular. It's just a regular train
Yeah.
track, the two
Yeah.
rails.
So regardless of if it does or it doesn't, it's a conductor, a very, very long conductor, right? It's conduit for a long way. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
if something wanted to get up in it and travel a long way at once, it could. You know what I mean? It's one huge circuit, but some things will also draw. Like if there's a third rail, some things will draw off that energy if they can't. You know, this is something I went off like for a long time that I have trouble talking to people about is how Sasquatch doesn't need like food to gain sustenance and energy. They can do things like plants like soak up the sun and like collect energy that way, or they can take it from other places if they have to. I mean, obviously that primarily they don't want to take from you know, a power line or train track, but they will if they have to, like whether it's I don't know. I don't always know, you know, the details, but I could tell you what I get, and and then I have to kind of, you know, stop and say, okay, that's what they gave me, and here's where, you know, I start to put other stuff together, and yeah, so it's just a guesstimate that might be why they use it. Um, yeah, so you know, you'll get the answer that it's the path of least resistance, or deer travel it and they kill deer all day, right? Like there's the monster shit again. But these are highly like advanced people. Like
Mhm.
it's not that they travel through the trees. Like they don't need the path of least resistance. Like they're
Right.
one with everything, you know. And like I know this because they've shown me how to bend elements. Like they've shown it to me, and I psyched myself out of it. But like you know, it's a work in progress, just like a lot of my other teachings. And like I said, there's a lot of stuff that goes on off camera that like sometimes I touch on and sometimes I don't. You know, it's just kind of I see what it's hard to be. There's people I talk to about it, right? Like, you know what I mean? I'm sure you understand what I mean, right? Like
Mhm.
sometimes there's
Right.
stuff you share, and then other times it's like, all right, like, you know, that was pretty out there, and like you tell a couple of people, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Right. Well, I kept quiet for years. It was just this past year that I finally started feeling comfortable sharing and then actually being on camera and then actually sharing my experience. But for years, yeah, I didn't want to say much to anything, to anyone.
yeah. Well,
I kept
sometimes
quiet.
my experiences scare me, and
Yeah.
it's not because of again like a monster or the Sasquatch themselves or the beings or whatever. You know, it's not because of that. It's because of what happened, like or what I did. You know, like what I was able to do, or like you know, that scares me sometimes. And I'm like, okay, like I gotta talk to somebody, but like now I gotta now I gotta like kind of look inside me and be like, all right, who can I like reach to that might have had some, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
who might have,
Right.
you know, and who might I be able to reach and like they'll have something similar, you know. Um,
Well, sometimes though you get
I
the
don't.
experience and you just had that feeling, whether it's mind speak or is this something that's brought to you that you get that feeling, okay, I'm not supposed to share this. This is just for me. This is something I need to
Yeah.
learn for or study.
That too, yes. Right. That too, absolutely. Now, what was I gonna say? Oh shoot. Oh man, I really wanted to say something to you. It'll come back to me eventually.
Yeah, it'll come. We'll keep going and it'll come back to you.
It'll
Hopefully.
come back. Oh, did I ever tell you guys to? Because I just said this to somebody else, and I was like prodded to tell them about it, and I feel like I'm supposed to tell you guys about it too. I don't know if I've said it to you yet, but there's this thing on Amazon. I don't know if it's still on there, but it was called Capturing the Light, and it was there's a million documentaries on there, right? This is an older one. It's at least a few years old, probably. But if you guys haven't seen that one, I would check it out because it might help you out with a couple of things.
All right. It's called Capturing the Light.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
The woman.
We haven't seen it.
Oh, it's yeah. It's worth looking at, especially with what you guys got going on.
All right.
Yeah, the woman. It's a documentary about a woman who's. I won't get into details. Like I don't recommend much, but this is one I recommend. And she's not with us no more, but I wish she was because I would love to see them. People do follow-ups with her right now, but with the way things have kicked into high gear. When there's like a pioneer. There's like a pioneer in something, and then it all like just unfolds like after that, and it's just like oh shit. I remember that lady that said that? Like
there's a lot of stuff changing right now. I mean, we have vibrations and frequencies that you can just feel a presence or you can feel a change coming on, and with all the paranormal and the cryptid and UFO sightings, and all this, there's just some kind of change that's getting ready to happen, and I believe that everybody else is raising their vibrations to match this, that they're, whether they know it or not, that's why they're seeing stuff, because their vibrations are raising up, whether it's because the earth is raising its vibration or the veil's getting thinner or something's going on.
Yeah, we're piercing the veil.
That's a good name.
It is. Is that what you call this show all the time?
Our Sunday night show is Piercing the Veil, and then our Wednesday late night shows is Night Owl. So whenever we go late night, it's always a Night Owl, and we go in the evenings, it's Piercing the Veil when we have guests or talk about these kind of subjects.
Yeah, I like that name. Gunnar, go lay down. Go lay down, please. Dealing with the animals. I'm sure that's what Jane's doing too.
Oh yeah, she's out there putting away the farm animals.
Yeah. So is there any questions in the chat? I don't really look at the chat too much when I'm doing
bringing them up as they've been saying them, so there hasn't been any big questions I know of. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them in all caps, and we'll bring them up, and we'll try to see if we can answer them, or at least bring up the subject and see what everybody thinks about it. So yeah, I mean, the weird thing about all this vibration stuff is that, nobody really knows exactly how it works, whether your natural gifts are coming through or you're starting to pay attention to it. So your brain and soul is manifesting these things, because we've heard all kinds of theories, about where we've manifested our own stuff in front of us. So that's why they pop in and they pop out real quick, or they use dimensional abilities, or I mean, there's just so many theories out there, and you can't prove any of them that we know of.
Well, yeah, that's because we're on the outskirts, right? Like we're the ones on the outside. Like, at least in my opinion, I think we're the ones on the outside. Like, everything's doing what it's supposed to do except humans. Like, we're being, and it's hard for people to wrap their heads around that, because who wants to hear that you're a puppet, right? Like, but in essence, like, that's what we've been set up for, is to be a sheeple. Some of us snap out of it. Some of us, you know, it never really clicks on too deep, you know, so whatever the case may be. But, you know, and then when you snap out of it, it's like it's almost like being a baby and you have to like learn to do everything. And it's like, you know, you can't tell somebody who's in the infant stage the same thing as somebody who's like a teenager in the rabbit hole, right? Of like, because they're over here and you're trying to tell to somebody who just woke up and like, and they're like, you know what I mean? What are you talking about? So I always say, like, wherever you are in Sasquatch school, like go get with the other classmates and hang out together, and just, you know, bank off each other and roll with each other and stay with each other, and like, you know, because you know what I mean, right? Like you hang with your peers,
Right.
like there's it's the same concept. Like I'm not saying don't, you know, don't listen to anybody else or whatever, but you kind of want to. It's better to have somebody there that's what I'll do. I'll pair people up. Like I kind of see where people are at, and I'll always at least try to pair people up. And like, yeah, it's not like I'm doing like this, like, you know, grandiose thing. I just see it and I'm like, okay, like you guys are gonna be good, like to bank off each other because you're in the same spot. Like, oh, let me, you know, I know somebody that's going through the same stuff. Like, and I'd say it just like that. I'm like, it's kind of like Sasquatch going, like you guys are in the same grade. Like here, like check this person out. Like you guys will like each other, you know? And
I mean, that's what it's all about. It's all about going out there, not necessarily put it all out on shows or stuff, but it's a learning experience for you. And what do you get out of this? How can this help you raise your consciousness or help you understand the world as how it works, whether it's the spiritual world or a natural world? I mean, you got to make sense out of it somehow. And I always kind of think of, you see these kung fu movies, you know, where they have the temple and they have a master teaching all these people, and they all learn at different rates. You know, some might be great at this move or this technique, with whether it's spears or knives or whatever. Then that's how they master, and they go through their gift or their craft.
I couldn't agree more.
So we're
Yeah,
the
I just
same
think
way. Not everybody's going to have the same gifts or the same abilities. Some people are going to be good at paranormal, and they're going to be good at reaching out to spirits, and some people are going to be good at, you know, connecting with the cryptids or Bigfoot or UFOs, and that's what they gravitate towards, and that's what their specialty.
Yeah, and we're all on different levels, even with their frequency, vibration, meditation. We're all different. We all have our own journey.
Yeah, and it's important to let people follow that journey. Like I never try to impose too much on anybody because I always say, like, I want their puzzle piece to come through. I don't want to repeat my puzzle piece. And a lot of times I hold back on a lot because I don't want to be too much of an influence on somebody. I like to hear what they're going through and then be there for them and, you know, go from there, if that makes sense.
Yep, that makes sense.
Moon at Noon, she wants to know what we think Bigfoot are. I mean, that's a kind of tough question. I mean,
yeah,
it is. I mean, I think they're people, like an ancient, you know, people. You know, I think they were here, like whether they were before us a long time or what. It's not really relevant, but they were definitely, you know, they're definitely a people. They're not like some animal running around. Like they're, you know, some version of what we could be.
right.
You know?
Yeah, I see them more human than animal.
Everybody says they have a clan or a family, so obviously they're like us. They have connections with, whether that's mates and children and other families. So
they have culture too.
They have basically a society like we do.
Yeah.
I think they're indigenous. I think they've been here long way before us, because they've always been talked of in the written language, let alone the oral language, say from Native Americans. So we know they've been here for a long, long time.
Yeah.
I also believe that some of them have spiritual or dimensional abilities, just like in the Native American aspect, where they have a shaman and they have elders and they have medicine men. So they all have their different roles.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think I think Bigfoot is the same way. I think the ones that have dimensional abilities possibly are considered just like the medicine men or shaman and the native. So some of them will have these gifts just like some of us have gifts, but other ones are just like going on about their business just like we do from day to day.
Well,
Sure.
Travis last week, yeah, I was gonna say Travis last week, he's First Nation in Canada. He was saying some of the Sasquatch were not flesh and blood, they were spiritual, that helped the chiefs and the shamans, and they knew that there was a spiritual Sasquatch in their area. So I thought that was really interesting.
Sure. Why not? I mean, I'll quote Tesla, I guess, but he wasn't the first to figure it out. He was just the first to, be heard, I guess. But he said energy isn't destroyed; it's just transformed, right? So,
right.
We're taught to grieve loved ones like they're gone forever, but they're not. Like they're not. They just change form. Whether they get a new
Right.
vessel, whether they stay in spirit, whatever. And there are people out there who can reach them. I'm not a medium, right? I'm not a psychic. Like I'm just a guy. I might categorize an empathic. I don't know. Like I'm not big on categories, right? Like or titles, but
Right.
I think I fall somewhere in there. And yeah, I would say he's 100% accurate. I was trying to listen to as much as I could with him, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. I was
Val
saying
wants
that's
to know if you have any information on Bubba's age.
yeah, it's weird because like I hate I it's not personal, Val. I just hate that question because I feel like I'm wrong, but I heard 222. Like when I asked that question for somebody, I heard 222, and it sounds outlandish, right? But what the hell do I know? You know what I mean? So why am I writing off that answer? Because it just doesn't. It's uncomfortable to say, right? Like it's uncomfortable to like get an answer and then have to pass it along. But someone asked me to ask that question, and that's what I got. I got 222. And
well, we can only put it in a time reference that we recognize. I mean, we don't know.
That's what I was thinking.
What their
True,
what their actual age is. They could be indefinite. They could have been here
Right.
the whole time forever. I mean, we don't. We put a timestamp on things.
Right.
Yeah,
Is
and maybe
time
they don't
even,
go
is
by
time
days and
relevant?
years.
Yeah, is time even relevant to anybody else, right? Like, like sometimes there's things that unfold and it feels like they take forever to unfold. And the sequence of events was like over such a great period of time. But I always wonder, I'm like, I wonder if Sasquatch literally just put it out there like this, like 1, 2, 3, and then it just took us forever to get, to connect those dots. You know what I mean? And was that long period of time even a long period of time? Was that even a big deal? Is life like the Flash? Why do we put this timeline on things?
Right.
Expectations and things that we're supposed to
Right.
do, and yada 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 yada. It's all part of this like sheeple style stuff. I hate to keep saying that word, but it's like it is.
Well, I think that's just the way we are. I think that's the way humans are. We try to make it relevant to us, and we try to control things. So we put things in boxes where when you need to raise your consciousness, you need to get rid of those boxes. You need to start thinking outside the box and see how everything is connected. Because me and Jane talk all the time about how everything's connected. We might experience one thing and all of a sudden say, you know what? That was similar to what we thought or heard of this other person saying.
Yeah.
Not everybody's experiences are the same, and not everybody can describe their experiences exactly like how you would describe your experiences, and they might be almost identical.
Sure. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Well, I honestly think that they can read people, like they know their intentions. They read you quite well. You're a very meek, mild, very gentle, loving spirit, and they know your personality, and that's what's drawing them. They like watching you. They know you're not a threat at all.
Yeah, and I had to come through a long, you know, period of like
Hmm.
healing and all sorts of stuff, right? And like, I, it, they were probably there the whole time. It just wasn't time for me to receive them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or I wasn't able to yet, or whatever the case was. Or they didn't deem me, ready for it. I don't know. But then one day, and I was in a hopeless state at that point too. Like I had come through all this like healing and like trauma recovery and like addiction, like sobriety and blah blah blah, like so many different things. And then I was just like, well, now what? Like I don't want to
Well, I
go
think
back out there to that crap. Like you know what I mean? Like I gotta go back to. And I always say the same thing: 9 to 5s and traffic and politics and news and this and that. And like it's exhausting just thinking about it. And
well, I
that's when
think
they
you
start.
said it. They know when you're ready. They know when anyone's ready. If they're ready to hear a noise or even to see them.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
just like you'll hear in the paranormal world where they'll go out on an investigation or whatever, and there'll be two people standing side by side. One of them will hear the voice and the other one won't. One of
Happens
them
all
will
the
see
time.
one of them will see the spirit come out and the other one won't see anything, or they'll feel a
Hmm.
breeze or a cold and the other
Mhm.
one won't feel it. I mean, it's
Happens
when you're
all the
ready,
time.
like you said, Jane, when you're ready, they'll come to you. And some people they're just drawn to, whether it's your
Hmm.
frequency or something about you, whether your
Yeah.
true being is coming out and being projected, and they're just attracted to it.
It was even just like the last thing the last expedition. I don't know, whatever. I do what I do, right? Like, but whatever. It was like an extended period of time I was in that area, right? But when I went to Catskill Falls, one of my team members met me up there, and he, well, the Catskill team members, but he met me up there, and we met, and we went to Catskill Falls before sunrise. And as we were walking, at first we went to like the platform, and then we were going to the falls. I was going, I wanted to do it in that order so we could be out there like before the blue hour, be out there in the dark, then the blue hour, then then sunrise, and then experience it all at once. Because I've done it before, but I was like, I wanted him to have that experience. And as we're walking, I think actually it was when we first went in. Actually, it was before we went anywhere else. They were isolating me and isolating him separately. Like I was getting things that he wasn't hearing, and then he was getting things on the other side of the trail that I wasn't hearing. And we were literally going back and forth, like, did you hear that? And I'm like, no. I'm like, did you hear that? And he's like, no. I'm like, there's no way you didn't hear
Hmm.
what the hell just happened. And he's like, I didn't. I'm like, okay. So I pulled out the camera, like, I'm gonna document this. And it happened like a couple more times each, And it's cool.
Wow.
Like it's interesting. And I literally like I filmed our feet, how close we were together. Like we're standing next to each other and
Right.
having two totally different experiences.
Now, Susie B wants to know if you think forest people are being attracted to power plants, according to Henry Franzoni.
Hmm.
I think we kind of discussed that a little bit, like when we were talking about the train tracks and the energy fields, that whether they're attracted in areas that have ley lines or high energy, or even us. If we have a high frequency or we're putting that out there, then they're attracted to us. And like paranormal, where they drain energy out of your batteries and equipment, they're so they can manifest and do stuff they need to do. They need the energy.
Hmm.
That's the only logic. That's the only thing I know about, like at least like for sure. I can speculate on other stuff, but that's the only thing I know for sure that they would use it for.
And that's all I'm doing. I'm just trying to make sense to it to myself. And that's what I come up with, whether it's ley lines or a power source or high energy from us as individuals. I have no idea.
They could
That's just what
literally be
comes to
like,
me. And that's how we try to make sense of it to ourselves.
they could literally have like just see that we're a mess waiting to happen and like have eyes on it. You know what I mean? Like it could be that simple. Who knows?
We say that when we see anything activity in the sky, you know, we're seeing like they're coming in portals and stuff. So man, they're just here for the show. They're getting their popcorn. They're gonna sit out there and watch us
That's what I said. Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah, Earth is like a Route 66 exit, like with one of them big billboards, like come look at the giant booger. You know what I mean? Like the world's biggest foot, like whatever, like you know what I mean? Like like they're just like driving by like the human zoo, like look at it, check it out.
We like
pump gas and leave. Like
we like that meme all the time. I share it where the aliens are going by and they tell the kids to lock the doors because they're going into a bad neighborhood.
Yeah. Don't let them. Don't roll your windows down. Close that. You have to close that hatch.
Or the other one I like a lot is the kid coming up to the father or mother late at night and says, "Really, you need a specimen now for school? Like they got to go out and abduct some."
Last minute, right? Yeah.
Last minute.
Yeah.
I think my favorite one or my funniest one is there's two grays standing next to a bed of an old man and he's sleeping, and one gray's smiling and the other one is telling him, "Put those back," and he's pointing to the glass because they stole the guy's dentures.
You know,
and he's just smiling with teeth.
It's funny the alien has these big old chompers in, the other one saying, "Put those back."
He's like, "Put those back."
The old Dennis the Menace movie when he puts chiclets in Mr. Wilson's thing. But on a serious note, like the same concept though, like I know somebody that had an experience where they were abducted. Well, you know, whatever. I don't knock it because I've been through so much weird shit that like I'm sure there's people out there that look at me side-eyed when I talk about stuff like okay. But like they said they woke up on the ship or whatever it was, and there was little alien, like the kids, I guess, and they were really close to her, and she remembers them saying, like the mom alien, I guess, coming, if you will, and like pulling them away and being like, "Are you guys nuts? Like that's literally the most dangerous thing in the entire universe, right there." And like, you know, it really hit home. Like we probably really are, and you know, at least in a reckless sense, right? Like,
yep.
I say it all the time. Humans are so unpredictable. Like everything on Earth does what it's supposed to do. You know, like very rarely do things like adapt or whatever. You know, or if they do adapt, they adapt because they need to. Because you know, but we're such wild cards. Like you don't know what you're gonna get. You know? Jeffrey Dahmer or like the next president. You know what I'm saying? Like, and what's the difference sometimes? But
Oh.
Yeah,
I can imagine they get confused.
We just have
humans
so
are real.
many different people on this earth, you know, that have different beliefs and different customs, different societies that, you know, we just amongst ourselves, we're just so different from each other, yet we have a connecting bond, you know, because we're all humans, we all have different things. And so whether the people, the Sasquatch or whatever, come up to us, it's kind of a wild card for them unless they read us, you know, to know what we're truly about.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. You know, there's people fighting right now over race, over religion, over land or whatever, whatever, right? So like, you think like we're gonna get like people who think we're gonna get the masses to believe in something, you know, that's superior to us, and like, you know, sometimes I think that's why people get stuck where they get stuck as far as like what a Sasquatch is. Some people just have bad experiences and don't want anymore. I can understand that. Like I can't. Like I always say, like when you see a Sasquatch, that's usually when people decide I'm never going back in where I am. and I need
Right.
to figure it out. And like I respect either way, right? Like it's your prerogative. Like it's your prerogative to live your life how you want to live. Like um I just think we used to respect each other. Like I come across people every day and I'm like, damn, like they're stuck. And I don't force it on them. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's not for me to do. Like that it's
I heard
just not.
someone say the other day that if you want to experience alien race or an alien existence, just tell the U.S. government that they found oil on Mars and we'd be there tomorrow.
I honestly think that there's more under the under the ocean than there is on the moon and Mars that they don't want us to see. Because why haven't we explored any of that? Like we can't go like a couple thousand feet deep, but we can go to the moon and Mars. Like there's no way
Yeah,
in hell, right? There's just no way in hell. Like there's something going on down there, right? At least that's my take on it. You
right.
know, it's like a watch the birdie scenario. Like look up here, like
Yeah.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
So, have you ever heard anyone say, or your thoughts of some of these Sasquatch could possibly be from another planet originally, or maybe a different
yeah.
kind could be from a different planet?
I don't know if they say it that deeply, but I've heard of people saying, I said once like, and these are people that I respect like greatly, and I was just jokingly one day like it's not like they're like I guess I was like, oh, people say they see them on crafts, right? Like alien craft, like
Right.
that's
Yeah.
and I was kind of saying it like it was a ridiculous thing. And these two gentlemen that I respect the hell out of were just like, yeah, like they absolutely. And I was just like,
Mhm.
shit, like, okay, all right, like, back to the drawing board, right? But like, that's why I don't fancy the big picture questions so much and like chase answers or chase proving or like anything like that. I just kind of like do my thing and whoever's coming, come along. And if I help somebody, great. But you know, you know what I mean, right? Hope I'm
Right.
making sense.
Hmm.
I mean, if
But
you
that's
believe
never
that
been my
they're,
experience. But
Right.
I mean, if you believe they're dimensional, they come from somewhere. They have to come from somewhere else. I mean, whether it's another timeline or just on the other side of the veil, or who's to say that they're not from another world,
Or inner Earth.
teleporting or using a portal or wormhole to come here to the U.S. or the United States or the whole world.
well, I know them to be so connected to Mother Earth, like, and so connected to nature, and so much one with all the elements and everything that like my mind, like when I hear people talk about them using tech or like driving a craft, like I'm just like my experience is so far from that like I don't necessarily connect the dots, right? But I don't write it off because whatever, like what the hell do I know, I'm like a little
Well, I
drop
mean,
in the
that's
ocean.
another aspect. I've heard people say, and whether they were mind speaking or connected with Sasquatch or whatever, they said that they are caretakers of the earth. That's why the people say they've been here forever because they're in charge of the nature, the plants, the trees, the elementals.
Mm.
That's why everything's so connected and everybody puts them together with the trees and everything.
Well, yeah, there's like, in the book I'm never gonna write, there's Indians and Native Americans, what they have reservations, right? And that's
Hmm.
what people gave them before they took over and started brainwashing the rest of us, right? And they also gave, I believe, Sasquatch and the other elementals and things, not reservations, but like preserves and reserves. There's some that are just wildlife management areas, they're called, right? Like they're off limits to everybody and anything. Like I believe those are the hotspots. And some state parks, some national parks and stuff, I think those are your more controlled areas, right? Where the government wants to keep an eye on them. They close them at dusk. They're hotbeds at night. They could be dangerous. Maybe they're super highways, portals, whatever the case may be. but those are more, completely closed off and more managed. So like, it's more than a belief, but I say the book I'm never gonna write because I just won't. Like I don't really read and write. So I just, the way I look at it is, if I have time to do either, like I'm just gonna go out in the woods. So
Yep. I mean, we've seen that a lot where you go to a national park or a state park and all of a sudden the section's closed off. It's like, no, they're not really closing that off because of, putting in a new pathway or trimming trees. There's something going on back there they don't want us to see, or they're trying to protect whatever is back there.
yeah. If I see a sign that says like rattlesnakes like off the trail this way, I'm like, who was off the trail like up this mountain over here like enough to find a rattlesnake nest? I'm like something. I'm going this way. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like if I get bit, I get bit, but I'm checking it out. Like, maybe
Yeah,
I'll
like, don't
turn
touch
into
this. Okay, I'm going to touch it anyway.
Spider-Man or Venom or something cool.
Oh,
I mean,
cool.
that's the way I was when I was younger, and probably still am. If you tell me I see a sign that says "Don't enter," it's like, what the heck's back there? I wonder what's back there.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, yeah. That's how you get the good stuff, right? Push the red button when they tell you not to.
Well, it's kind of like a conspiracy theory. They say, "Oh, that's just conspiracy." Oh, really? I want to look into it now.
Yeah.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because of all the stuff they kept deeming conspiracy theory, now we're finding out they're all true, or we all known this whole time that we thought they were true. It's like, well, if you tell me it's conspiracy theory, that's where I'm heading. That's where I'm going to
Yep.
start looking at.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's the same thing. Like now, like the government has said UFOs are real, right? Or like at least they exist. But then it's amazing to me how much that hasn't done. Like it didn't do anything really. So
Right.
Right.
when people are like, "Oh, I want the government to admit that Sasquatch exists," I'm like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I mean, I don't understand that other than, we've had disclosure forever because we've had experiencers and they come out and tell us.
Mm-hmm.
We're the experiencers, we're the disclosure. Everybody comes out with their stories. Everybody is telling their story now where they were afraid before. I mean, the government that say, okay, we're going to disclose stuff was like, well, we don't really need your okay or your stamp on it. We already know it.
Right.
Yes, it would be nice if you'd actually show us something that you've been lying about all this time, because to save face for you, it doesn't matter to us really, because we already know.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So some these times you're camping, have you ever had experiences that you're sound asleep and they're next to your tent and they poke your tent or wake you up or mess with you?
Hey, can Mike come out and play?
Yeah, Mike come out and play.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes. Sometimes I like the one night I went to Overlook Mountain and I brought somebody with me, and I told him, I said, they're gonna knock me out tonight. He's like, what do you mean? I said, I can tell you right now. I said, you're gonna have a fun night probably. I said, I hope you're geared up for it, because I just can tell they're gonna knock me out. Like, and I don't know I didn't know how else to explain it, but it happened. Like I was out cold, and I don't sleep like that. You know what I mean? I was just out cold. And he was like having nonstop activity, you know what I mean? And like to the point where he was like, it was like he was excited, but he was scared. And he's like, I kept talking to you, and not until the sun came up did you respond. A couple of times you were like, oh yeah, I hear him. And then like, you were like laughing, and then like he would like laugh and like say something to them and then go back to sleep. And he's like, at one point you were like, listen to this shit, it sounds like Fraggle Rock out there. And then you went back to bed. I'm like, it did. It sounded like the Fraggle Rock talking back, like, but I guess it was juveniles. Just, I don't know. I can only speculate, right? Like you can only speculate. Like, but I knew they were gonna just put me down and like and just kind of enjoy his presence. Like I was like old news. I was old news. You know what I mean? They were like, all right, let's just take him out the equation. Like,
Well, at least you warned them that you're probably going to be knocked out.
yeah, it didn't help. It didn't help much though. I thought it was gonna help, but maybe, but it didn't. It didn't. And I know it. I know it's nerve wracking when you're out there and it's pitch black, and you know it had been raining, so our fires went out, and like um you know whatever. It's sketchy, like, and that, like where we were wasn't. It's not like a campground. Like we were just like I placed us in a meadow, like. It's called Magic Meadow. Like it's not like people go there for all sorts of stuff and experiences. Like I mean, from wide ranges. There's this monk like spot. The next day I went and like I like I kept getting this like thing where I was supposed to play a drum like over a mountain, like, and like I didn't know what it was, but I could keep picturing this drum, like. And I went there the next morning. I mean, I got like mud on me. I'm soaking wet. Like I was camping. Like I mean, and I just walk into this monastery or whatever it is, like, and they're on like day 5 of this like peace, like I had no idea what was going on, you know, until the next day we got up and there was just cars everywhere and like people everywhere and like monks everywhere. I was like, what is going on? It was like day 5 of like some big like peace ritual, like or something. I don't even know what they're called. Ceremony, I guess.
Yep.
And one of the monks hands me the thing for the. I mean, this gong is huge, and they don't hand that thing to people. You know what I mean? Like, and he hands it to me, and I'm like, is this really happening? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm exhausted. I'm like tired from exhaustion. Like, I'm just so out of it. But I'm like, I gotta hit this thing. You know what I mean? And it was,
Right.
yeah. Oh man, that was one of the most powerful things I ever did. You know, it might sound silly, but it was cool. It was really cool.
I like using drums in the backyard.
Yeah, I finally got my own, and it's nice to have it. Like when you want to, I guess some people like singing bowls, like you know, and
Mhm.
things like that. And some people use crystals and this, right? Like I've learned to like use myself, like, and you know, as that tool. But the drum has been fun. You know, it's been a little bit of
Yeah.
fun to just kind of like get a little like rhythm going sometimes, and then or sometimes see how off rhythm I really am.
I don't think they care.
know,
They just like the sound.
I
Yeah.
think they like the frequencies or the
Yeah.
vibration that you're sending out with the drums and the flutes or the music and your meditation. And I think that's
Yeah.
it draws them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, one of the things I do when I don't have, you know, when I'm not using my phone for filming is I play music, and it, it's usually songs that are like oh man, like I'll play like Italian music, like very like cultural music, or like native music, or like that song Hallelujah, or like Camping with Sasquatch
Right.
just did like Ave Maria, and I was like, that's one of the ones I use, like. It was just wild, you know, and but those like songs where people are like coming from the heart and the soul and like, you know, really like letting it rip, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like that's where they really
Well, think
at
of
least
this also. You were talking about the monks and stuff, and what about
yeah,
all the areas where the tribes were, you know, in the Native America here in the US, North America, that they
yeah.
had rituals and ceremonies done, and we moved them out of that area. So there could be trees and meadows and places that they gathered and had sacred ceremonies and
Oh yeah.
that energy doesn't go away.
And
Mm-hmm.
there's some areas that they would not go in for certain reasons.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what I always find that I always go to them and say, hey, respectively, like you don't have to tell me anything or you know, much more than is there anywhere I shouldn't go? You know,
Yeah.
can I get a representative to speak with me? Is there anywhere I shouldn't go? And I will not say the things names that I'm worried about, but they are not, you know, they are the things that you hear about in folklore, and they're not. They're in areas, and they wouldn't go down there to hunt. You know, whether there could be it could be where thousands of deer hang out. Like it don't matter. Like they wouldn't go there to hunt because of spiritual reasons. And
There you go, Jane, right up your alley.
Yeah. Ever since we had Mr. E on, right? Yeah, it was Mr. E talking about mushrooms and how they're connected with Sasquatch, the trees, and networks. I've had nothing but mushrooms. They were growing in the cornfield before the harvest. Now, this past 2 weeks, between my garden and the chicken and goat pen, I have like 50 or more different varieties, not just these mushrooms that come up from the rain. They're all varieties and different looking. It's just mushroom galore out there.
yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad word's spreading about that, but that's like really what it is. Like the mycelium network is part of like,
Yeah,
and I always say it like the bent trees, like and the snap trees, like they do that on. It's not because the big Sasquatch came through and right. No, like it's snap because it's still alive. It's conduit. It's like wiring and energy flow. The
yeah,
bend is keeping it alive. If they can't bend it because it's a huge giant, they snap it like, and it all connects. Like you got to just watch which way it all goes and what it connects to. And if you
right.
put yourself in that, if you put yourself in that network, in that conduit, like you that's like an optimal place to receive an encounter. And like I do it all the time. I leave the phone back, I leave everything back, and I go and I sit with one. I sit in one of those spots, and it's unparalleled. The experience is unparalleled. Well, unless I'm standing like knee deep in or waist deep in like a river, but that's different. Yeah, I'm glad word's getting out about that, and people are like spreading that message because it's really helpful. Like,
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, because I think mushrooms, trees, Sasquatch, all the elementals, they're all connected. They work with
yeah,
each other, intertwine, and no one really realized I'm not sure how to word this, the consciousness that mushrooms actually have. That they're
sure.
hearing us, they're watching us, they communicate with each other. People just think they're just a fungus growing, and they're not. They communicate, and if they're a network.
I didn't know all this either. Like I just found out a couple of years ago, right? Like I had no idea. There's a show too that's I think it's on Netflix called Fantastic. I want to say it's called Fantastic Fungi,
Yeah,
whatever.
I watched that show.
But yeah, like it's kind of like a crash course, right? In like how badass they are. And, it's amazing to me how like we've been groomed. Every time I go out with somebody, they'll say the same thing when it comes to mushrooms. Oh, watch out for that thing, or don't touch that thing, it's poisonous. How do we know it could be poisonous? Or people think every mushroom is poisonous, and I'm like,
Right.
There's really not many that are. And but I used to think the same way. I thought like, oh, don't ever touch a mushroom because chances are it could just be poison. Chances are it's poisonous. So but again, I had a guy on my team who was like a bushcraft hunter tracker, right? And like he's just really, a woodsman, right? Up in the mountains, up in the Catskills and that around there. He's an expert woodsman, and he's just, so valuable to us. And I learned all about mushrooms from him, pretty much. Like at least like which ones. Like chicken of the woods, like who knew it?
Yeah.
It tastes like lobster. Like I still don't eat it, but like, if I see it, I'll like point it out, tell certain people like, hey, I've seen this over here. You want me to get it? Same thing with ghost plant and ghost pipe. I learned from Scotty B the values it has, like the medicinal values that
Helps
Indian
with pain.
pipe. Pain, all sorts of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I hurt my back and I've been using it, and that's pretty much all I've been using. And it's like a good anti-inflammatory. It probably would have took me 2 months to heal without it, but I'm hoping I'll fast track in like 2 weeks. Like, I'm coming to like a week now, pretty much. So
You need a big giant singing bowl on your back.
I've been, this has been a rough one, but
feeling that vibration and the massage. I have helped so many people with back pain, hip pain, migraine headaches, all the way down to their feet. There's just something about that vibration that helps shooting into the body. I wish you were closer. Yeah, I'd put a big giant singing bowl on your back and I'd make you feel better. Nobody wants to come to my house for vibrational singing bowl therapy.
I would come.
No, it's good. I mean, I've done it on Garrow. It's just it's just so relaxing, and it really does help your muscles and your bones and everything.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, I use like Hertz, different Hertz music and stuff. And like, it's got to be very similar, right? Like to
Yeah.
using, it's got to be something very similar.
Well,
Only
for
thing is,
example, I've
like,
been
wherever
telling.
the ball touches, it vibrates down through your body, and sometimes it'll even go almost your whole body. You can feel that
Yeah.
vibration or frequency going through you.
It's better than the battery operated things that just beat the snot out of your back. This is a very soothing vibration. It's so soothing and very slow. But yeah, those things, they kill you. But yeah, this is a very soothing vibration that it relaxes you feel like you're floating at the end. It's a weird feeling. But when we're talking
That's what
about
I do with
frequency,
Reiki.
I use tuning forks outside and I do singing bowls outside. But this summer, when I got this little 528 hertz necklace, it comes as a necklace. This thing has
Really?
been drawing owls and all kinds of things in. Maybe that's what drawing in mushrooms, but it's a 528 hertz whistle. And I got the cheaper one on Amazon. I didn't buy the name brand expensive one for $70, but I got this for like 30 some bucks. Well, instead of the frequency on the outside, it's in your lips, and you can feel it on the inside of your body. And it's for meditation. And you're supposed to breathe in with your nose and then blow out with the whistle. And I think they are feeling that frequency and that hertz this summer.
Absolutely. Yeah, I want to look into that. I didn't even know that existed. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're on Amazon, and I'll show you the little necklace. It comes with it pinches together, and it's a little necklace. And then you pull it out, and it's like a pitch pipe for like a guitar or something. That's pretty much what it is. And you'd use that for meditation. Close your eyes, breathe in with your nose, blow out. And I honestly feel that it's drawing things in. A little screech owl keeps singing. Every time I do this summer, he's a couple houses away in the backyard. And he starts going.
Well, here's the beauty of it. Like sometimes it's so simple as like sometimes like it's like almost like just positive reinforcement, right? Like, so say like we do something and like it's a good thing, the Sasquatch will react, and then we'll be like, oh, like that worked, right? And like we'll just keep doing it, and like that's sometimes like that's all we need is like that little bit of like kickstart to manifest and like put that little like bit of pixie dust in us, and next thing you know, whether it's that or you as a whole that's doing it, like it's working.
Well, they'll associate you with that frequency or whatever that made them feel good, just like we do. I mean, if we have a good experience and we associate things with that experience, whether it's music or whatever.
100%.
Spiritual Odyssey, look up 528 hertz whistle necklace. And I got the one that came with a beautiful bracelet. It came with a beaded bracelet. It was like $39. Don't get the Love Hertz or whatever. They want $70. It's just a name brand. No, I mean, mine was like 30 some bucks, and it came with a beautiful necklace. And if you just type in 528 hertz whistle necklace, you'll see them. They come in different colors.
I'm gonna get one. That's sick. Yeah. So like, I mean, but how many times?
I'm loving it.
How many times in history, like, have you like you've heard music, right? But then like. There'll be a certain song that like I'm sure Chiro, you can attest to this because you do the music, but like everybody like has a song that brings them back to a moment in time or like something that reminds you, and it like it doesn't just like it doesn't just enlist a memory, like it like puts you there almost, you know what I mean? And like while that song is playing, it's like you're in that moment again, like, and you can kind of like leave that space you're in. So like if you can take that and kind of just switch it over and create that kind of moment in the now, like that's like what it is in essence.
Yep.
I just feel, all this, the hertz and the frequencies, if it affects our bodies, it's got to be a healing effect with them also. That's just how I
Just
sense
like
it.
everything else. I mean, there's a favorite song of mine, and it came out in 1978. And every time I hear that, I can remember exactly the feeling and how I felt when that song comes on. And one of my friends just bought a brand new car. He was a little older than me, so he was driving.
Yeah.
And I can remember those summer nights listening to that song coming out for the first time on the radio, and it just transports me. So it's almost like I'm being transported right back to that time, like a time travel thing.
Right.
I'm going back in chat. Yeah, when
We're
Duke
coming up on
mentioned
the
that.
hour and a half mark. So Mike, want you to tell everybody about your YouTube channel and Facebook and how to get a hold of you if you have a Gmail or something that people can write to you, or
Yeah, it's Midwest Night Watchers and Hero 7.
Oh,
Subscribe right away.
By the way, somebody whispered to me that Mike had a birthday not too long ago, huh?
No, my birthday's in February.
In February, I thought somebody on Facebook posted that you had a birthday.
No, I don't. It wasn't me. That's amazing, though.
You had to find it. But I wanted to bring up, I saw on chat, Duke mentioned a harmonica. That's pretty much similar to some of these. I also got one of these that, like a chorus singer, the choir, does the pitch before they sing a song.
Yeah.
You do two of them, and it just, all kinds of weird things are happening. But yeah, you've got all these different notes and frequencies all in one. So that's something else that I got on Amazon. But yeah, they're like a harmonica.
Yeah,
that's similar to it.
I have the little ones from Natives that they're made of wood, and they, you know what I mean? You just blow, they have whatever, it's shaped like a turtle or whatever, you know what I mean? And I have a bunch of them. But I've gifted harmonicas. Harmonica's a great one, yeah.
Oh, you gifted harmonicas.
Oh yeah, I gift all sorts. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So Susie wants to know, what's that called?
What is called the whistle, or this thing, the round thing, or
that one?
A pitch box. I think it was called a choir pitch pipe. Just type in pitch pipes. You'll see the guitar ones. I've got a guitar one. I've got a violin one that has 4, and it seemed like they kind of like those too. You just throw it in your pocket. There's not big equipment to take on hikes. So yeah, this is for a violin. They've got guitar, and then this one is pretty much what a choir director, or what was that? There was a famous that's Pitch Perfect. That movie that our girls always watched over again. Yeah. Well, then you go, and everybody goes hum. So it tells you how to sing the stuff, the pitch of the song.
Right.
So yeah, this is pretty cheap. Also, I just experiment with all these things. And I am getting a lot of activity out there. And I guess I should share what happened to me before we go. I told Susie B and a couple other people, I was having fun with this crazy thing out in the backyard, and you can actually talk in it. And I don't know if you can hear it from here. It goes, and I'm saying, hello. So you go, and I'm saying, hello. Well, the next night I'm out in the backyard, and it's dark, and I'm closing my eyes and just meditating, just listening to the sounds in the whole neighborhood. The second driveway that is connected to our barn is connected to our next door neighbors, but there's trees and stuff over there next to my truck. I heard audible saying, hello, sounded just like that. And it scared me to death. I mean, I normally don't get scared. But I went running inside. Gerald looked at me. I probably looked like white as a ghost. But we went straight to bed after that. Something in my head told me, well, you were doing that the night before. And I went, oh, my gosh. It was that exact same sound, like a robot saying, hello. Now, I don't know what it was. I don't know if Sasquatch can mimic sounds. or what it was, but it was right over there, my driveway. It wasn't my neighbors at 1 o'clock in the morning. So this thing did draw something because it mimicked me saying hello like a robot, sounding just like this the next night.
Yep.
I don't know what it was though.
It sounds like you do.
Unless Sasquatch can come out and say hello like a robot. I don't know. But
Yeah,
that happened just about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, we can mimic anything, really. You know what I mean? So I don't
Yeah.
see why they couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up when she said the harmonica, and I said, yeah, these things
It's
are
amazing.
all
Yeah.
similar.
It's awesome.
Huh. Nice.
Well, let's go ahead and say goodbye to everybody. I mean, this has been a fun night. Thank you, Mike, for being here, and everybody in chat. We love you so much.
I see a dog nose.
Yeah,
Yes.
dog
he's
knows.
just headbutting. He's headbutting the shit. He's headbutting.
Yes, yeah, this has been a great show, Mike. You're definitely going to head back, and we'll
thank
do a
you.
round 2. And thank you
Yeah,
so
thank you
much
for having me.
Well, thank you
it's
for
been
helping
great.
us with our subs the other night and making the 500 on your show. That was very special. It really was. Thank you so much.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for rigging the other show so I won a t-shirt.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just
We'll be sending
we'll
that
get
out
that
tomorrow.
thank you guys. Yeah, I got your mask
Yeah.
actually. You guys. Oh no, actually, Susie won a mask and you won a necklace. I think, right?
No,
Yeah.
actually, we're swapping. Give Susie B the necklace. We'll take her mask.
No, actually, Susie's getting the necklace. We're getting the white mask, and Elena's getting the one that Susie won.
Everybody's swapping.
See, everybody likes it better that way. Win-win.
Sorry, Susie, we're taking your mask.
Stop. Gonna stop. Dog's out of his mind. It's like, I'm getting abused. Stop, puppy.
So yeah. Thank you, everybody that's been in chat tonight, and you guys have just been wonderful. You guys are like the greatest chat ever, and
Yes,
we
they
just love
are.
you guys so much. And in case nobody's ever told you, people in our chat are the smartest thinkers in the world. They're the brightest.
Oh, that's cute. Very cute. Oh, look at the puppy.
It's not
Oh
a
my
puppy.
gosh.
He's
Well, Mike, don't go anywhere. We'll just say hi to bye to everybody. Not hi. Hi
Did
and
you
bye.
ask what Susie wants?
What?
Susie B says, did you ask what
Oh.
Susie wants?
Okay, Susie, which gift do you want? She probably wants the white mask.
Oh, we know what Susie wants. We know what Susie wants. She wants the necklace. We get the white mask, and Elena gets the one that Susie was supposed to get. Sorry, it's done. Let it be written.
Settled. Bam. Done.
It
Sorry,
would look
Susie.
good with. It would look good if you wore it with the beard too. Actually.
Oh yeah. Wait till the
Oh,
beard gets
yeah.
down. Wait till the beard gets down here, then it really look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm envious. This is about as much like facial hair as I get. Like this is.
Oh my.
All right,
Well,
this time I mean it. We're gonna go.
yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Love you guys. Thanks for
Take
coming,
care.
Mike. It's been great. We'll have to have you back, and we'll be on your show coming up sometime, and we'll have to
Yep.
get that arranged. And
Yes, definitely.
make sure everybody in chat, everybody that's watching this show later, go out to everybody's sites that we've mentioned tonight, whether it's Long Island Bigfoot, Susie B, Forest Friends, Texas Front Porch, Jessica the Cryptid Huntress. I mean, we've had them all up and down this whole chat. Make sure you go out there and go to their channels also, please.
Yep. We all support each other.
Yes.
So in saying that, we love you, chat. Love and peace to all of you. Do something kind for others this week, and
keep looking up.
you so much.
And keep looking up.
Keep looking up.